What's going on? This is Jay, Real Recognized Real Estate. I'm here with my man Romain Francois. He's from hometown Neptune, Asbury area.
Yeah.
He's a real estate investor. Currently has two properties, two investment properties. He's working in corporate America, but he's definitely trying to get out of that rat race. He joined my investment group. I guess Romain, what it's been like a year since you
It's been a
joined the
year so
group.
far, going on a year and a half now.
A year and a half.
hmm
Yeah, man. As always, man, we're gonna keep it real. We're gonna give you all the good, the bad, the ugly. So let's just jump right into it. So, Romain, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself. When did you first know that you wanted to start investing in real estate?
So I'm from New Jersey. The reason why I started into real estate is because I was looking at my current situation and I'm working for corporate America. I remember a few years back when I was working for Wells Fargo, I was doing my job at the time. I think I was probably about like 23 years old. And I got caught up in a sales scandal that my manager really he was the one orchestrating. I took the hit for. I got fired because of it, and I realized, okay, my problem is that now I need another job in order to generate some income. So I thought to myself, if I continuously go on this path where I have to now find a job in order to get some income, I need to find another way. So I thought to myself, you know what? Let me try to look at other avenues to make some money. And real estate was one industry that I thought was pretty sturdy, and I just started building a plan within corporate America to save enough money to at least get my hand on one property.
How did you how did you get your first property? Like how did man, give us a little insight into how you got your first property.
Okay, so for my first property, I got with a realtor. So I got with two realtors before. So my first realtor happened to be a friend of mine. That didn't go as great. So he more so was new to the industry. He was a buddy of mine, so I wanted to partner with him. Put some money in his pocket, and I was already in the market looking to buy, but then I ended up getting referred to another individual, and she ended up being my relative. It happened to be my friend's stepmom. She ended up being my relative. Her and I started looking at, and I told her off the bat I wanted to find a multi-family property because I listened to Bigger Pockets. I started listening to a lot of podcasts, and they would give me some insight. And I was thinking about the house hacking method. So I wanted to find a multifamily property, possibly lived in one of the units, and rent out the other unit. Hopefully, that the mortgage would pay for itself. That's what I was thinking. And yeah, we started searching multifamilies in New Jersey, and she took me to a few. I seen a lot that I liked, and eventually I stumbled upon one that was in Neptune. I chose Neptune at the time too because if you know Neptune, New Jersey, it's right on the shore. It's right next to Asbury Park. It's a tourist attraction. Jelani and I grew up within the same neighborhood, and during those times, it was the hood. Like it was nothing good coming out of Asbury. It was slummy. We weren't thinking real estate. Well, at least I wasn't at the time, right? We lived right on the shore, but our downtown boardwalk district was nothing but boarded up buildings. There was no growth and no economy coming out of Asbury Park at all. So I just thought to myself, during the time when I bought, it was being slowly being gentrified. I wanted to be a part of it, so I thought, you know what? There's no better place to buy than in a market I knew that was on the come up. So I found a property in Neptune, and yeah, and then her and I figured out the deal.
Let's just rewind, man, because I remember that, man. JJ Newberry's. I remember the old Asbury. Like you can't even get nothing near the beach now for like less than $1 million. It's just crazy, bro. Like
Nuts.
who would have known, man? I think at one point they were saying that people was actually giving out properties for $1 down there. You know,
Probably were. I mean, the neighborhood was that bad. They probably were literally giving out properties for $1. There was nothing coming out of Asbury. It was just nothing. Like literally, the entire neighborhood was African. It was predominantly African American and Latino. That was it. The majority of the storefronts we had were just like little rinky dink, little. You got laundromat over here, like little Dollar Tree. It really wasn't much movement coming to Asbury Park at the time. There wasn't investors in the area, and no one was talking about buying properties or even looking to invest into the area. It was I don't know, something close to a food desert.
Yo, what's crazy, man, is imagine if you knew that what was going to happen today. Imagine if you had known that junk back then. And that's what being an investor is all about, man. It's seeing the potential in something. Now, they were saying that Asbury Park was going to come back for years, bro.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that bought stuff hoping it was going to come back, and they were just waiting, you know. But when it did turn, like I know I got some stuff down there, like on Atkins, and when it did turn, man, we made a lot of money, and I was just happy to be a part of it. But imagine if you could have really. I remember right when I quit my job like 3 years ago. This is really before Asbury, Neptune, all that junk started blowing up all crazy. Um, I had got an offer to buy 20 properties, bro, all in Asbury and Neptune as a portfolio, and I think the average cost was like 80 grand a property. You know how much I
Crazy.
killed it, but yo, bro, I was well. But they were in some rough shape and stuff like that. But think about it, man. You don't know what's going to happen until it happens, right?
Right.
And then plus, this was right when COVID hit. So I was thinking to myself, man, remember because when COVID hit, it was almost like the whole world was ending. So I was like, man, I
Right.
don't know. That was one of the reasons why the investor was dumping everything. And I'm not saying I was a new investor because I had stuff, but I definitely would have been a pit bull on that now.
Mhm.
And just coming up with the money because it was like a 20 properties. So it might have been a little more than 80 grand because I remember the whole portfolio was going to cost me like $2 million. And, now that's way doable. But in the beginning, as I quit my job and stuff like that, it was like coming up with $2 million was a stretch for me. It would have been me really rolling the dice. So, but that's the whole thing, man, getting in these markets. But what's so sweet is that since we were able to see that in our area,
Mhm.
I see that everywhere around the country. That's why I'm not afraid to go into other markets because I'll see another market and be like, yo, I seen that already, man.
This is gonna come up. I
This is
think
going to come up, man.
like whenever I like literally I'll look for deals in the slums, like in the hood. I'm used to this. I'm comfortable here because I know at the end of the day, I know what it's gonna look like in the future. Especially too if you have because like in our neighborhood right now, obviously gentrification is happening around the country, right? And it's starting from the eastern shorelines and it's moving on west. So if you want to get in front of the wave, then look within the Midwest. Look to move on westward because a lot of people are then they're traveling from these inner city states, like these inner cities where they necessarily can't afford the rent, they can't afford the mortgage, and they're looking to possibly buy in like the Midwest and the West. It's gonna happen. It's happened in our neighborhoods, and they got gentrified. So now that's why I'm not afraid to even. I looked at a property in Ohio, and that's another area I'm looking to invest in heavily. And I've heard great things about Detroit as well too. And so there's opportunities elsewhere, but the thing is, sometimes the opportunities they're like what is it? Diamonds in the rough, right? Like so you got to kind of like, I mean, just rub the dirt off the diamond a little bit in order to see it shine. But sometimes you got to hold on to a deal. It doesn't happen overnight. But if the numbers make sense and you're comfortable and being in a tougher neighborhood and actually, seeing it through, it's worth the wait. I wish we would have did it more in Asbury, but it's definitely worth the wait.
Yeah, and what I've also learned too, man, is that if something is shiny, it's already been. I mean, all the money's been exhausted out of that, man.
Right.
They always say, man, the only place you're gonna find gold is in dirt, man. And
Mhm.
so you go to those places where other people are afraid to go. And like going out of state, you mentioned Ohio. The reason, like, I'm heavy. I'm in Ohio right now. I got office space downtown. Like, I am entrenched in Ohio. And the reason being is because I can get deals and be able to do stuff I just cannot do in New Jersey. And that's why I started to invest heavily out of state because I've seen this before. Gentrification is real. A lot of rundown cities, here, even in Dayton, Ohio, you got all these boarded up homes and people are moving back, especially the downtown area. So if you was able to get in on the ground floor, like I got some stuff downtown that since I purchased it's worth 4 times what I got it for, right? Within a matter of a year. So you can imagine just the opportunity. You really can't get that in our area anymore. So it's definitely
For sure.
worth, you got to take risk. Without risk is reward, man. And the
Right.
way I see it, man, is risk isn't the problem, right? Because everything got a risk associated with it, bro. You can't get in your car in the morning and not risk something.
Right.
But here's the difference: is like everything's not risky. In my opinion, the only difference between something being a risk, which is something we got to all deal with, and
Mm.
something being risky, is if it's risky is only when you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Right.
So
Right.
if I'm driving a car, yeah, it's a risk, but it's a low risk because I know what I'm doing. But
Mm.
if I jump behind the wheel of a car and I don't know what the hell I'm doing, then that's what makes it risky. So I
Right.
think investing out of state, going to places that might not be desirable because they're transitioning, that's where the money's going to be made. And I think where things get really risky is if you just don't understand or know what you're doing.
Well, Jim, let me ask you this because I don't think you and I spoke about this before. So, what about? Because I know you traveled to different states and different parts of the world, but what was it about Ohio that really made you think, you know what? Let me look to invest heavily in this area specifically.
That's a good question, man. And I'm going to give you the real answer. Bro, I didn't do no market research. I didn't do none of that. So, and some people might look at me and say, yo, man, that's the craziest answer I ever heard. But I'm just telling you,
Right.
I'm telling y'all the truth, man. The way I live my life is I just, one step ahead of me, I'm looking for opportunity and I'm looking for an edge, right? Now, I was investing already in Texas, in the Dallas area, right? DFW area. I knew investors that were just really big on Dayton, Ohio. They had already did all the research and they were really bullish on Dayton. They're like, yo, bro, you gotta go to Dayton. You gotta go to Dayton. And so, a couple of months had passed and they just called me out the blue one day. Now, when they called me, was I still work? Yeah, I was still working my job. So this was the last year I was in my job. They had called me though on a Friday and they were like, yo, man, we're in Dayton, Ohio. And I was like, okay. They were like, yeah, but we're leaving on Monday or Tuesday. Now this is a Friday, bro. I couldn't find a flight, that made sense at that time. So I literally just called my man. We got in the car. We just drove there and we met them in Dayton, that Monday morning. It was literally like that, bro. And they showed me around. They showed me the stuff that they were doing. And I looked at it like, okay, God's presenting me with an opportunity. I didn't do all the market research. I knew that market, I like the price points, right? The first property I ever bought in Dayton, Ohio was a duplex that I got for 29 grand. I'm not used to that in New Jersey.
Yeah, you're not gonna find
So I was just willing to run with it. You know what I'm saying? I was already doing stuff in Dallas. I had some stuff going on in Alabama, Georgia. So I wasn't afraid to go out of state. And then I guess I kind of really cut my teeth in Ohio because I had to build everything from the ground up. Because even that those guys were down there, they were kind of just dipping their toe in the market. So when I got here, I mean, I had to build my own crews, property management. Most of the other places that I got involved with, that stuff kind of was already there because of my relationships,
okay.
So I kind of was excited about coming in Ohio because, like I said, there was opportunity. But what got me there was just being on my path, bro. Like stuff just working out and saying, okay, I went there. They're telling me about it. I get there. I start learning stuff. Boom, I get a duplex for 29 grand. Like it's just things started to line up, which made me know like you doing the right thing. You in the right place.
Right. No, I get you, man. I think a lot of people will be hesitant, right? Especially since if you're doing deals for the first time out of state, it's scary. Like you said, like maybe there's risk associated to it, but it's not as risky, especially if you've already done the process before. Like I've purchased a property in New Jersey, a market I'm comfortable with, right? But when I knew to myself, nothing's gonna change unless I change, right? I'm
Mhm.
gonna have to look to invest in other markets. So I pulled, I just pulled the trigger, decided, you know what, if I'm going to lose any cash in this thing, at least I'm going to try to lose cash, trying to, better my future, right? Trying to pivot into building residual income for myself. And it was worth the risk. That was worth the risk. I feel like what was risky was not making any moves. Because, if you do the same things, you get the same results, right? You hear that all the time. So I was down to, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to pivot my life. So I bought one property and then I was like, you know what? I did it one time. I had past success with that property. I can do it again. And even I remember just like it's like yourself trying to figure out contract, things like that. When I first bought my property, I knew nothing about loan packages and the different programs the banks had. I went out, I bought the property on an FHA loan. It's all I knew. All I knew was the FHA loan. The rehab portion of it, I was forking out of pocket. Like, so every little thing I needed to fix in that property. To make matters worse, the first contractors I had too they were ripping me off, man. Like I was getting duped. Like they started in the basement with me, and every little like copper, any little thing they needed to fix down there, they would charge me over the head. And sometimes too, I'm a man of God, so sometimes you go off on a leap of faith. So I started off with some contractors that were like, they were running game on me, and they were probably gonna end up taking all my money. One day, the contractor literally had said to me, he's like, "Hey, go over to what's the hardware store, the downtown hardware store. I need an elbow 3/4 pipe, right?" So I'm like, copper pipe. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to start. I don't know no better. I'm learning as I'm going along too, because at the same time, if I'm going to pay somebody to do some work, I also want to stand there and watch him, so I can eventually learn how to do it myself, right?
Mm.
So I went over to this hardware store, and then they told me, you know what? They actually pointed me to somebody in the store. I thought he worked there. So they're like, "Oh, this is Jose over here, right?" They pointed me to this guy Jose. I thought he worked in the store, and the dude Jose was this Latin guy, and he was kind of short, and he looked like he worked there, and he helped me out find the right piece. And him and I actually spoke outside of the store, and he told me he's a contractor as well too, and he does work. So I knew I was getting had by the guys that I was currently working with. So I was like, you know what? Let me see. Let me give this guy a shot. Like, what do I have to lose, right? I'm already paying this mortgage, and I'm trying to get this property up and running as soon as possible. So I'm willing to get anybody in there who could, speed up my process. So I mean, by the grace of God, I bumped into him. He's been my contractor for that property, like, to this day. I call him up. He's pretty loyal. He gets to me pretty quickly. He has a team of his own, and throughout the process, well, too, I expressed to him my aspirations and where I'm trying to take this thing, and he's been, trying to help me get there. So sometimes along your journey, you'll also find some good people who are willing to help you, make things happen. It's kind of like, I don't know if you ever read The Alchemist, right? Sometimes the universe just finds a way for you, right? Like you put your best foot forward, and it will happen.
And that's the truth, man. I mean, sure, I could definitely attest to that, bro. It's funny because people are always afraid of all the crazy things that could go wrong with anything that they're doing, right? People are always afraid of, like you said, contractors. I'm gonna be honest. I think going into real estate investing, especially if you're gonna get your hands dirty in the sense of buying things that need work and then being able to capture that equity by, fixing up a property. Construction to me is definitely one of the hardest parts of being an investor. You're going to get taken most likely unless you got somebody helping you out from the rip. So I kind of feel like that's like a rite of passage, bro. I mean, you know how many tens of thousands of dollars I have lost, bro, in my first year just getting beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just keeping it 100. Like, I got beat from contractors. And I'll be honest, I got beat. I've been getting beat from contractors every year. Like, it's just part of it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like now, I've learned a lot. Pay, you know what I'm saying? Just pay the money to get the right people, man. It's just, I used to try to get certain people, you know what I mean, who were giving me a better price. But now I'm just all about getting the work done, getting the work done quality, getting it done fast. You think that you're going to save a couple dollars here and there, but in the long run, you're gonna end up losing. So just spend the money, you know what I'm saying, to get that job done. But see how everything worked out. I think people don't realize too, when you start this journey, things just start working out, bro. Like what you said, you went to a hardware store, met this contractor is still with you. I mean, I could, a lot about my challenges, man. And even when I went to Ohio, I had contractors out here that were ripping me clean off because I was managing everything from New Jersey. I get out here, I have nobody because I had to get rid of them, right? But then I had somebody who was willing to come out from New Jersey and help me out, and we made it happen. And then we grew our team. So challenges and setbacks are going to come. I just think that people got to understand that's part of it, man. That's just part of the journey. Don't be afraid of what you don't know, or that things are going to be hard, because that's just part of it, man. That's just part of it. And you're right. Once you start working hard, putting your mind to things, everything starts to work out. But I will tell you this, at least for me, and I'm pretty sure you agree with me on this, man. You hear me say this all the time. Like, real estate is a team sport, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. It's a team sport. For
And
sure.
things really took off for me when I started to work with other people, man, and leverage relationships and things like that. So I have a question. I know, I remember you calling me up, man, and we ended up chopping it up, and you heard that I had a group. Let me ask you a question. Why did you join the group, though? Why did you join?
Right. So, so you and I, your family's really close. Well, I pretty much call it family, but uh, I had a lawyer who talked to me about you, and she's like, yeah, I have this nephew. He's doing great things in the real estate and things of that nature, right? I'm thinking to myself, as we're here for my meeting, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I might not be where he's at, but eventually I'm going to get there, right? So, her and I, we have meetings every once in a while. We'll catch up, and then one day, I don't know why she finally decided, she like, you know what, she's gonna plug me in, right? So she's like, all right, I'm gonna plug you in with my nephew, and maybe you guys could work together. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing, but I think it'd be a great opportunity for you. And at the time as well too, I was in a rock and a hard place because I finished my first project. Like I said earlier, I was paying everything out of pocket as far as the rehab portion of the property was going. But I had two tenants in there, and they were paying rent at this time. On time. I wasn't having any issues. Like literally, the property's paying for itself, right, and then some. But my issue is that I didn't know where my next deal was coming from. I was actively looking. So in New Jersey, prices were high in Jersey as far as like trying to buy a property, and also too, I didn't have a team, so I knew I needed to partner. But finding the right partners as well too is also part of the battle, because I mean, let's keep it like, I'll just be completely honest. I don't got all the money in the world, right? I got
Mhm.
bills to pay, I got rent overhead, I got a family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm first generation over here. I got people that's dependent on me as well too. So I got to take certain risk, and I can always jump out on a limb. Although I may want to, it may not be the best decision as like for my ecosystem, right?
Mhm.
So I knew I had the partner, and my Lord told me, you know what, I want you to get with my nephew. I think you're ready, right? She's seen what I did with my first property. She's like, you know what, it seems like you have the aptitude for this, and you're passionate about it. Get with my nephew, and then take it from there. He probably can give you some advice or whatever may have you. So then I bumped into, you and I got to talking, and I realized pretty quickly, you know what, you'll find good people in this thing. Like, not everybody in real estate's out to get you. Not everyone's like everyone. Sometimes you think to yourself, money also comes with devious people. Yeah, that is true. But then again, too, sometimes money, you'll just find people who literally their drive is to be successful and also impact other people as well too. So I think the more impactful you're being on like in life, the more impactful you could be on someone else. So like I bumped into Jay. He seemed straight up, literally, like everything he has told me so far has been true, right? When he can't do something, he says like, you know what, it's difficult, I'm gonna find a way. He'll let me know exactly what's going on with my projects. He'll tell me too his challenges as well too. He'll share those, and we'll go back and forth as far as like deals. And I literally watched him help other people, and also too just make connections. Most people won't give up, right? Like who you had shared with me some of your bankers, at which they have these loan programs that they're literally facilitating millions of dollars worth of deals. Me, I'm coming in only able to purchase a few hundred thousand, right? But they're still willing to work with me, no matter where you're at as far as like your journey. Like the people you've introduced me to have been solid. So again, you'll along your journey, you'll meet all the right people that you need to meet. So I'm appreciative of the opportunity, and also too, I mean, like just meeting genuine people along the journey is it's been a ride, and so far, like I'm enjoying it. I'm learning a lot. within this real estate group, and majority everyone I meet in the group as well too, they just want to win. Everyone's encouraging of each other. We're investing in each, hearing about everyone else's deals because you're learning a lot, right? We're all learning from each other. Some people have a single family. Some people are looking to invest into what was it? What was that deal? It was like rehab centers, right? Turning a property into a rehab center for people who are addicted to either drugs or alcohol, right? Trying to get them back on the right track. So there's different deals to be had. Other people within the group are strictly looking to get into Airbnbs. So everyone's journey is different within our group. But at the end of the day, like we're all trying to help each other get to the next level, right? There's some people that are well off, and they're literally in millions of dollars worth of deals. And there's some people as well too, just starting off, right? Everyone's at different levels when it comes to this journey, but at the end of the day, we're all just working and feeding off each other. So that's the one thing I love about our partnership within our real estate group.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be honest, man. I learned early on that you're going to be able to do way more together than you're going to do by yourself. And so you might look at it like, "Dag, man, this is great for me talking about you, but it's great for me too." Because at the end of the day, first of all, we all solid. So it's like naturally cats just become closer, become more like friends. But it's cool to make money with people you like. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool to put your heads together and figure out how we can all add value. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is. It's like we all have value that we can add. Whether you got millions of dollars, you got hundreds of thousands of dollars, you might be someone who's analytical, who can analyze deals, or you might be someone who just has a bunch of money. You take these two people and put them together, they're going to do way better together than they're going to do by themselves. And that's the whole concept, man. I wanted to start a group with people from all different levels, right? But they would come together. I mean, they have to have certain things. Like, I mean, if you don't have any money, I'd probably tell you save up a little bit of money,
Right.
because people saying that you can do real estate with no money is silly. You know what I'm saying? You can, and I don't want to discourage anybody who doesn't have any money, but it's
Right.
a lot easier, you know what I'm saying, when you have some bread. So I always say this, man, real estate is a team sport, you know. Um, Other thing I was going to ask you is, and let's get into this, man, because me and you are similar. So I know you're in corporate America right now, right? And you're probably doing pretty well. You know what I mean? I've been in that situation. So you had told me that, your goal is eventually to be able to leave corporate America. So my first question is, man, why? Why you want to leave corporate America?
Man, that's a loaded question. It's a loaded question. So there's multiple reasons why I want to leave corporate America. Um, first and foremost, I want my time back, right? I remember when I was an undergrad, me and my friends, we used to always talk about, hey, when we go out in corporate America and get these jobs, we want to also get a job that's going to allow us enough time for us to invest in different areas, right? And then I realized once I got into corporate America, I think some jobs they'll call it as well too golden shackles, right, or golden chains, right? They'll pay you just enough money just so you can continuously working for them. But then as you realize, you know what? This doesn't necessarily like the harder I work for them, I realize, you know what? I'm successful in working somebody else's dream, but I also want to be just as successful working my own dream as well too, right? So I made sure all the money that I have, I'm looking to pivot towards my future because within corporate America, there's a lot of games to be played, and nothing's guaranteed, right? Nothing's guaranteed in real estate as well. But I think I'd rather play my game than to play their game because it doesn't matter. You could have been at the top of your game in corporate America, right? Like you literally could be winning all these awards and getting praises, and then when a company decides to do a realignment or a shift, then
You out, bro.
you're in the
Yeah.
chopping block. You're done. You know what I'm saying? Pack your stuff up. Like by I think by 3 o'clock today, you won't have access to your laptop. Ship that in. I mean, we're gonna come pick this up, pick that up. You're done. Like so, some companies don't even give you a severance package. So it really depends on the company that you're with. But regardless, it's all the same. Realignments, layoffs, however they want to call it, recalibrations. It's layoffs, and as artificial intelligence, and you keep up with the market, right? So as artificial intelligence continuously make leaps and bounds, right? Because like face it, we're in the tech space right now, right? Our cell phones went from like these big blocks to flipping to now, there's no buttons on this thing. It's touchscreen, and now we have artificial intelligence that can just literally write books and answer phone services. Eventually, I realized that they're going to take people's jobs, so you're going to have to pivot, right? You're going to have to pivot. At some point in time, you got to try to find an avenue to get into where you can just make a life for yourself outside of your physical labor. And I thought to myself, you know what? If I could work hard in real estate for the next, 10 years or so, then I can could coast a little bit because I knew America's not making any more land. I got to start grabbing some. You know what I'm saying? I got to get my hands on something out here.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, because at the same time too, in my life, I want to be impactful. I felt like corporate America was giving me just enough money for me to get into real estate, but real estate in itself is going to help me be impactful in other people's lives. Like I want to give back. There's a lot of things that I want to do that I can't necessarily do or talk about while I'm working for someone else, while I'm working within a different industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because everything's scrutinized. I can't go on YouTube and talk bad about one political party and good about another. Like
Yeah.
like because I'm not
Handcuffed. You can't be free.
yeah, I'm not actually free, right? I'm not gonna go ahead and call it slavery, but whatever you want to call it. Like some people literally live paycheck to paycheck. I mean, what do you call that, right? So that's why, again, to our point, real estate's a team sport. Regardless of whether or not you say you don't have enough money, team up with somebody. I encourage you to team up with somebody you trust. It doesn't have to be a friend, but somebody that has enough drive to want to make just want to make this thing work for themselves, right? Or want to change your life, whether it be in real estate, within stocks. If you could learn from someone else, you know what? I realize they're working together. We might as well work together as well. So
what's holding you back from making that leap, man? From cutting that cord? What's holding you back, bro?
that's a tough question. So it's a few things was holding me back. One, I feel like I'm not yet at my number, right? So I have a number in my head where I need to be at. I want to cash flow a bit more, and that's what I'm working on as far as like my real estate deals. I want to have a bit more cash flow before I say, you know what, whatever happens, happens. I am now going to go full entrepreneur into real estate. I wish I could do it today, to be honest with you. I really wish. You can, but I know it's going to come with certain struggles. I'm trying to keep things afloat.
Yo, let me tell you something though, man. I'm gonna keep it really 100 with you, bro. So I had a specific way that I wanted to leave corporate America, man. I had a way I wanted to leave, and I would have never left if things just didn't get uncomfortable. Like, because you're always trying to get to that number. And I'm not saying you shouldn't prepare, you shouldn't, but yo, there's never going to be a right time to do anything, right? And just to give you a little bit of insight, when I left, they were doing a reorg. You know what I'm saying? I could have tried to get a position at an interview and do all this stuff, down in a different location. And, it was like, yo, let me just take what I got. I had some savings, take the package and get up out of there and make it shake. Yo, when I first left corporate America, I think through real estate, I was only making, I wasn't making that much, man. I probably was only making maybe like $2,500 a month. I mean, that's not a little bit of money, but it's also not.
Yeah. It's not like
It was like it was tight, man. It was tight. But I'll tell you this: when you got your back somewhat up against the wall, you really figure out like how to make things work. So like when I had left, COVID had just happened. Yo, man, I had four deals I had under contract. I couldn't close because the banks wouldn't even close. So if I wanted to close, I had to go hard money. And I'm frustrated because at this point I wanted to get going, but everything happens the way it's going to happen. Now, the blessing was I had learned how to raise capital in 2019 because I got part of a syndication while I was still working for corporate America. Learning how to raise capital helped me because I realized quickly that if I can't get money from a bank because COVID's going crazy, right?
Right.
That most other investors couldn't get money from the bank. So what did I do is I started raising capital and getting that capital to other investors that I trusted. And it was like three main investors that I was raising capital for. And that's how I made money. Pretty much the first year of me leaving corporate America, I made money by raising capital. I lived off the spread. So if I raised and my investors were getting 10, I was lending out at 15, lending out at 12, and I lived off the spread. But that wasn't the plan. My whole point is that when you put yourself, you know what I mean, you get your back put up against the wall, you will figure it out, man. I'm not saying you should leave with nothing. Like I had something coming in, but you know what I'm saying? Like you figure it out because your success is going to be tied to you being able to figure shit out, man. That's the bottom line. Like you can't save your way to making millions and billions. You just can't. The way you make millions and billions of dollars is you solve problems. That's how you do it. And guess what? The easiest way to solve problems is with your back against the wall. How am I going to eat? How am I going to pay my bills? And if you got something going, like you got something going, you got some real estate going. How I thought I was going to make money in real estate is completely not how I made money. And then by my second year, I was doing really, really well. You know what I mean? My second year after I left, that was with the big real estate boom, you know, in 2020 to 2021.
Mhm.
I took the shot and it paid off for me, right? We got zero now. COVID is set in. We got 0% interest rates. Everything's still low because everybody was freaking out because they thought the world was going to end. I went in and bought as much as I could, and then everything just shot cleaned up, bro. Made a lot of money. You know, definitely seven figures that through that second year in real estate. But imagine if I had never got to the point where I could figure out how to make it in the beginning when I didn't have those opportunities. It's like they always say, man, you stay ready so you don't got to get ready. It's like that as an investor. You know, people think quitting your job is risky. Quitting your job ain't risky. I think keeping your job is risky
Right.
because when you have a job, you got one boss and you got all your eggs in this boss's basket, man. And if he want to fire you today, guess what? Now you got zero. You got to go look for something else, live off your savings, see you get something else.
Right.
See, with me as an entrepreneur, right? I got properties here, businesses here, all doing stuff for me, making me money. Even if something bad happens with property A, let's just say, that's just like one boss. Okay, let's say I got to take an L there. It's like getting fired from one property, but I got 80 other properties over here still making money. So to me, not working the job to me is 1,000 times more risky because you're putting all your eggs in that basket. And I will tell you this, there's never going to be a right time. You know, I'm not saying you shouldn't have something coming in.
Right.
Your back is put against the wall, bro. That's when you're going to make it shake.
No, I agree with you 100. I agree with you 100% because it is true. You have to be uncomfortable in order for you to take leaps and bounds in which you wouldn't had made before, right? And I think that's probably when we're probably most strategic when our backs are against the wall. I know for me, as far as with my real estate journey, I actually, when I bought my first property, my back was against the wall. I had a manager who literally, I don't know why, my numbers was up. She was giving me a hard time. To this day, I still don't really know what that was about. But I said to myself, hey, you know what? If anything's going to happen, if I end up leaving this company, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy a property. Like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Even if I don't got a job tomorrow, I'm just buy a property. And then, you know, I happened to purchase a property. I ended up leaving the company. So, but I purchased the property before I left. I think I actually purchased in the midst of me leaving. But again, like you said, you got to be a bit uncomfortable in order to make moves in which you wouldn't have made before. So I definitely I hear you there, man. I'm close, man. I'm close.
Yeah, I'm going to push you, bro. You already know. You
Yeah,
already know.
next time we do an interview, we do any check-ins. I'll tell you, like, hey, you know, I made the move. You know, I'm completely now complete 100% in with the real estate, and it's not even not I'm not 100% in now. It's just that I decompartmentalize my time with my job in real estate. And sometimes it does get in the way, right? Like I want to check on my properties more often. I want to be more hands on with my property so I can learn a few things, so I can be bit more handy. But I also got this job, so yeah. So it is, it's paying in certain aspects, right? But it's in the way in others. But again, too, like all the money that they do give me, I mean, I don't splurge on too much. I like to live just a comfortable life, and I spend my money on my future. I spend my money on real estate, man. I don't care about Gucci, like Gucci and Louis Vuitton
Yeah, I hear
designer.
that.
You know what I
Nah,
mean?
you got it, yo, man. Why floss now? It don't make no sense. All that money you needed to get to where you want to go, and on that point, getting to where you want to go. So, where do you see yourself going from here? You got property in New Jersey. You got the duplex out in Ohio. Where's Romaine going from here, man?
So from here, what I'm thinking is this, right? I would love to get into an Airbnb market so I can cash flow a bit more heavy, so I can move faster, right?
Okay,
I'm looking to either partner on a bigger deal, so I'm saving capital now, right? With the money that's coming in, I have one property I've already purchased. I'm rehabbing it, and it should have tenants in within a month or so. So that should be fully occupied. I'm going to cash flow pretty nice there. So yeah, between getting an Airbnb, partnering it on a deal, also within that time as well too. Whatever deal I can find, I'm jumping into it. I'm trying to, I'm moving strategically. As long as the numbers make sense, I'm in.
you
Right?
in?
Literally, I'm calculating. As long as I calculate the numbers, it makes sense. Even where rates are at currently, because that's been an issue. And we talked about that, but I'm optimistic. I don't want to think that rates will stay this way, but regardless, that's why I'm looking in the markets that I'm looking into. Because even if rates are high, I'm looking to purchase properties that are on a lower aspect as far as like, where I'm gonna be all in at, so that way I could cash flow a bit better.
Okay, okay. Nah, it makes sense, and I think you working well. Especially in the Midwest. Like for me, my just a little insight into my strategy. I'm heavy in the Midwest and in the South. I'm taking that money now, and you see what I'm doing with Airbnb, man. Airbnb is crazy from a cash flow perspective. So, but I'm still, my foundation is in long term rentals. So I'm making money, right? Where I can get in at a low price point. I can put that rehab, and then I'm heavy in new construction too, and then get a bunch of equity that I can refi out of or sell, get that cash, and go into these bigger Airbnb markets. It's kind of one of the things that I'm trying to do too. Um, but yeah, man, I'm just excited about where you at. I'm excited about where you going, and I guess one thing I was going to say is like before we end, what's one piece of actionable advice you could give to somebody who wants to get started in real estate or is just getting going with one or two properties that they could take today that you feel that you wish somebody had told you that would help move them forward?
Hmm. Well, this is a mantra that I held on to because I remember doing my first deal. I was twist. I had two decisions to make. I saved up enough money to pay off my student loans or purchase a property. Right. I'm twisting and turning, wondering or not if I should spend all this money in the real estate because like I said in the beginning of this interview, I didn't even have a contractor. I don't know where my tenants was going to go come in. I was literally thinking about purchasing the property and leaving it as is and just renting it out as is. Right. That's literally I didn't really necessarily have a plan. The numbers made sense as far as like what it would look like in the future, but I wasn't entirely too sure. So if I was actually supposed to wanted to give somebody some advice, especially where I was at, solid advice I would give would be you won't get rich because of your first deal, but
Mm,
because of your first deal, you'll be rich.
there you go. I like that, man. That's tight. That's definitely tight, bro. And that's truth. That's real, man. All right, fam. I definitely appreciate your time, Romaine. This thing will be the last time we talk, man.
Of course,
And
man. Thank you
I
for
definitely,
having me.
yeah, no doubt, man. All right.